I'm James Eric Francis. I'm the Penobscot Nation's Director of Cultural and Historic Preservation. I'm also an artist. The types of art I like to do is I paint with acrylics. Lately I've been doing a lot of painting with dots, getting the paint just the right consistency so when you lay it on the canvas you get a nice round circle. I also do a lot of painting of drums, hand drums. Most of my drums are commissioned works. I really try to personalize the drums to the client's needs. I also do photography. Recently, I've been shooting a lot of time-lapse photography, taking thousands of pictures and stringing them together as high-resolution videos. Some of these are of landscapes, but most are done at night, capturing the star field and the motion of the Earth as we spin through space. This particular piece, which is in the Hudson Museum collection, is called Kachiki. The word in Penobscot for an arrow penetrating something is ki. And I call this Kachiki because Kachi is something grand or great. So this is the great penetrating of the arrow. This tree here is an ash tree. And in Penobscot oral stories, Glooskap, our cultural hero, shot an arrow into an ash tree. And that ash tree split open, creating all the animals that we find in our homeland, including people. So this creation myth I wanted to capture here in this piece. You can see we have a deer, people, birds, a couple of raccoons, a male and a female. I'm sure they all came out 2 by 2. And I painted this using geometric shapes, so polygons, creating all of the animals. This piece was done in 2019. So this piece is called Just in Time. Again, really calling on our Penobscot oral traditions. This is a hunter who's just returning home from a winter hunt. He has his kill on a toboggan and he's just approaching his home. And it's called Just in Time because just beyond the wigwam, revealing itself from the forest, is a sasset. A sasset is a flaming skeleton in our culture, and he represents either freezing to death or, in this case, starving to death. And so this hunter showing up with food just before a sasset begins to knock on the wigwam is why I call it Just in Time. This piece here is called Welcome Home. It is one of the first paintings that I did using dots, a lot of dots. And each one of these dots actually represents a salmon. And it's called Welcome Home because of the Penobscot River Restoration Project, which removed 2 dams within the Penobscot system, allowing salmon to return back to reservation waters. And so I did this with that in mind. There are 3 salmon here, 2 blue, which kind of blend into the background, and then this centrally figured brownish colored salmon. But again, each one of these dots represents a salmon that has returned back to Penobscot waters. This piece, called Turtle Love, is a second version of the same concept called Oak Hill Dream that I did many years ago in pen and ink. So this is a more colorful version of the original, which was just black and white. But this features 2 oak trees and a wigwam and a couple under a blanket, which has a turtle on the back of the blanket. They're enjoying the sunrise. But you also can see that the sunrise is pushing out the night sky. The whole sky, everything is done with dots of paint. And also where the trees overlap, you can see a turtle shell with its 13 tiles, his head, his arms, and his legs. So along with the welcome home in this, I've done about 6 or so paintings that strictly use dots. I created 2, one quite large of salmon and a fishing spear, and which actually went to Germany. But the dots came to me as I was watching Chris Okalex's flint knapping, this methodical removal of material from a stone. And I thought it'd be interesting to create a painting that kind of had that same sensibility of, instead of extractive, like making an arrowhead, added just these small dots, and when they all come together, they create these paintings. So the drums that I paint started with a project that got funded by the New England Foundation for the Arts. It was called the New Moon Drum Project. And these drums, which are now housed at the Penobscot Nation Museum, depicted our moons, the Penobscot calendar. And I painted these during the time of each of the moons. So it took me 13 moons to paint these 13 drums. And I was really inspired by the landscape and by the environment when I painted these. Oftentimes spending right up almost to the next moon to paint the drum, because I really wanted to be inspired by the time, by that moon, before I started painting the drums. Today, most of my drums are commissioned. I really like to talk with the clients when they order a drum. What types of animals do they like? What colors do they want Penobscot designs on them, or Passamaquoddy, Micmac, or Maliseet? And I design drums specifically for them. In fact, I remember painting one drum that had a Harley-Davidson motorcycle on it that was embellished with beadwork from a very important collar that's housed here at the Hudson Museum. So I also do time-lapse photography. Oftentimes, those are also commissioned jobs. Filmmakers will need a time lapse to fill in some gaps within their films, and so I will shoot these time lapses. Shooting high quality photographs that are stitched together gives you a richer image rather than just filming it straight to video. Oftentimes I will do this at night, capturing the movement of the planet through the stars. And in 2014, I shot one that shot 5,000 plus pictures overnight and captured the northern lights over Mount Katahdin. Early in 2020, and I'm reading from the exhibit catalog, or part of the exhibit catalog from Maine Historical Society, I did a piece called We Walk On Eternally. And what this is a document called the 1755 Spencer Phipps Proclamation. And then in 1755, this was an attempt to clear the region of Penobscot people. In fact, in here, it offered bounties for the pursuing, captivating, killing, and destroying all and every Penobscot Indian. So I painted this, and when I finished painting the document, I wrote in blood red letters diagonally, like a slash, across the document, a word in Penobscot that means we walk on eternally, to let the viewers know that not only are we still here despite this document, but we will always be here. And for me, this artwork really urges the citizens of Maine not to kind of live in the past and let documents like this define the relationship with Wabanaki people, but to walk hand in hand with us as we all move into the future. The use of language, color, and symbolisms helps to affirm our resilience as Penobscot people historically, presently, and into the future. Thank you.